All right, we missed a week, but we're back. Power rankings, baby. I lost the first argument. Let's get right into it. I wanted a different team at number 10. Kwab won the argument. Congratulations. And at number 10, if you have any problem with this team being number 10, you go directly to this guy right here. It's the Orlando Magic. Kwab, I'm not even going to speak on this. You go for it.
We have Orlando Magic at number 10. I think that's a great spot to have him as. Josh agrees with me, even though he doesn't want to agree with me. With a team that has lost two of their best players, they've still been trucking along, winning games. I know they lost their last two games. One was a 1 point game against the Heat, and the other one was against the Knicks. Doesn't count as the Knicks, but they're a very, very tough team. They have the next man up approach. They've been playing hard as hell. It feels like they're the only team that's been playing playoff defense during the regular season. They will tackle you, they will punch you, they will fight you, and they'll get a win regardless. So we have them at number 10.
We do have it at number 10. Also, their wins include the Heat, you said that, but also the Boston Celtics. And I think that says a lot about a team that's missing their two best players, that you can beat the Boston Celtics. It's impressive. So
That's impressive.
shout out to
Thank
the
you.
Magic. It's not that I don't like the Magic. It's the fact that when you're missing Bankero and you're missing Franz Wagner, and now Mo Wagner, the Wagner brothers, it's kind of like, well, how good are they? Like, can we really put them in the top? Are they really, a top 10 team in the league?
Yes.
Okay, whatever.
Yes, on the
Let's move
dime,
on to
yes.
number
On the
9.
dime, yes.
We have the Los Angeles Clippers. This is a team that Kwab didn't want in, but I did. Wins against the Mavs at Memphis and versus the Warriors. They did lose to the Mavericks, though. And I'm obligated to say this. I was kind of like buttering it up and kind of like making it seem sexier than it really was. The Mavericks didn't have Luka Doncic or Kyrie Irving, and the Warriors did not have Steph Curry in those wins. I still think the Clippers are a really good team. They're really good defensively, one of the better defensive teams in the league. James Harden, I wouldn't say he's having an under the radar good season, but he's having a really good season for the Clippers. Norman Powell, they're a solid team, man. I don't think they're a sleeper to win the West. I've read some articles saying that they're a sleeper, but they're a top 10 team. A top 10 team to me, man. That was say that fast. Top 10 team. Top 10 team.
10 team. Top 10 team to me. Yeah, I mean, they're a good team. Like you said, they've been really good defensively. James Harden has been playing really well. Also, Kawhi is apparently coming back very, very soon, which is
January
should be a
4th.
plus for them. Yep, they put a date on it. He also had a commercial about it, which is kind of cool. So I mean, we have him at 9. You know what I mean? I don't know what Josh was talking about that I didn't want him in. It's true, I didn't want him in. But yeah, go Clippers, man. Go Clippers.
Right, coming in at number 8, we got the Milwaukee Bucks. If we would have done this maybe a few days earlier, they might have been higher. They did win the NBA Cup, so shout out to them. They showed what their potential is, what they can be in the playoffs, and they look pretty freaking good, man. At one point, I was like, maybe they might be the third best team in the East. I don't think you can take Cleveland out of the conversation with Boston. Honestly, to even say that is an insult to Cleveland at this point. But they did lose to the Nets without Dame, without Giannis, so that does mean something. They got their asses handed to them by the Cavs, though, and I don't think Dame played that game. So losses to Cleveland, losses to Brooklyn. They did beat the Warriors. I mean, they did beat the Wizards, and they beat the Bulls in Chicago. I think we can solidly say this is a top 10 team. Now, where they are for the rest of the year, we don't know. Where they are in the East, I don't know. Right now, for me, it's Celtics and Cavs on their own tier, and you have the Knicks and Bucks kind of fighting for that next tier, trying to get into the top tier. And I think we're going to go back and forth between the Knicks and the Bucks, man. What do you say about the Bucks?
Yeah, I mean, they've been playing way better as of lately, racking up wins. That's what you do. And Chris Middleton coming back, you can see the effect he's had on the team. Yeah, some of the losses they've had recently, they didn't have again their full roster, which is fine. It was funny to me when they played the Nets. If you know, I'm a Nets fan. End of the game, they during a play, they double teamed Ben Simmons to the 3 point line and left Cam Johnson open for a three. It was like the biggest play of the game. I'm like, Doc Rivers, there you
And
go.
he got fouled.
But and he got fouled. But jokes aside, the Bucks have been playing really well. They the way they were able to win the NBA Cup, it looked like you saw the team that everybody was like, okay, this is what it's supposed to look like with Dame and Giannis and even Milton. Like this is the team you kind of expected. So props to them.
Yeah, props to them. Maybe they can get healthy and maybe go on a run here and actually play their big three together,
Yep.
which they haven't been able to do. All right, moving on to number 7. This hurts to do it. They dropped a little bit, but it's the Houston Rockets. 21-10. It's how do you drop a team that's went 4-1 in their last 5? It's kind of hard to describe why we did that. This is vibes based, ladies and gentlemen. Vibes based. They did blow a big lead to the T-Wolves at home today. For me and Kwab, actually, I'll speak for myself. Maybe Kwab will back me up or not. I just feel like there's a ceiling to this Rockets team. You know, they could be second in the West, third in the West, whatever it is. And I don't think I'll take them seriously to win the West, despite what their record says. I do think they're a playoff team. I do think they could win a round in the playoffs. But to me, they're just not a good enough shooting team in a league where you have to be a good shooting team. And, you know, we talk about their struggles in the half court, but even when they get good shots, they don't really hit them. So for me, it's like, I don't know how good they are or how good they can be. To me, they're a team that has a pretty high floor, but a pretty low ceiling compared to the rest of contenders. 7 feels right for now. Who knows, Rocket fans? Maybe it'll be 4 next week. Just roll with us. This is vibes based. You're not catching the vibe this week.
Just vibes. We love the Rockets. We love the young team. We love like a lot of their players that are on the squad. Yeah, they lost a tough one when I expect them to win this game against the T-Wolves, but they ended up blowing the lead. But like I said, the inconsistency problem that they have, especially in the half court, there are times when they look really, really good and really unstoppable. There are times they look like a young team that has a lot of flaws. So I'm not sure what their ceiling is. I'm not sure if they plan on making any moves before the trade deadline to kind of shore up the shooting or like more of the half court offense. But they have a fun young team. They have a really good defensive team also. So maybe they'll figure it out. But to me, they're a team you don't necessarily want to face in the playoffs because they will give you a run for your money.
A candidate to land De'Aaron Fox. Maybe. I'm just making shit up. Who knows? Coming in at number 6, it's the New York Knicks. 6 straight wins against the T-Wolves, Pelicans, Raptors, Spurs, Magic. Last loss against the Hawks in the in-season tournament. That's okay. You catch L's sometimes. Bad matchup. I think the Knicks are starting to turn the corner, but every time I think that this year, they don't turn the corner. So I'm very cautiously optimistic right now. Fantastic offensively. Mikal Bridges is back, baby. He's balling out. Big game against the Spurs at Madison Square Garden on Christmas. He's also just played well as of late in general. He's shooting over 40% for the past month from 3, which is exactly why they got him. Well, not exactly, but part of it. He's playing better on defense, and that's a huge part of this. You know, if you get this Mikal Bridges from the Knicks, this team looks like they can be a contender or a quasi-contender at worst. So Knicks coming in at 6. Kwab, your thoughts?
Yeah, Knicks have been playing really well. Speaking on Mikal Bridges, like I think the one thing, even watching the Christmas game against the Spurs, I know he hit some threes also, but the one thing that was like good to see on top of him playing good defense was him getting back to consistently hitting that mid-range jumper he's always had. I think that's the one thing that he kind of got away from, like his second year on the Nets. When he first got traded to the Nets, he used to state like his favorite player was KD. So that quick 1-2 dribble pull up mid range was like money for him, and him getting back to that and hitting that consistently, you can tell it's kind of upped his numbers. Again, when you talk about the topic of consistency when it comes to NBA teams or basketball teams, it's like an inconsistent team. It's usually factored in a couple of things. It's a really young team, a really bad team, or just a team with different new pieces that's trying to figure it out. And the Knicks have just been figuring it out. Like there'll be moments they look unstoppable, and then there are moments when I'm like, yeah, they're gonna get killed, and they get killed. So it is what it is. It's still they look like they're kind of figuring out. Like Josh Hart has been playing phenomenal. Brunson has been playing really well as a playmaker, which has been helping out everybody. So, yeah, where we have them is cool. You know what I mean? Go Knicks, I guess. Whatever.
Yeah, man. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. All right, coming in at number 5, it's the Dallas Mavericks. They're going to lose Luka Doncic for... People make fun of how I say Doncic. Doncic?
Yeah, Luka. That's why I don't say it. I just say Luka.
Doncic. Luka. He's going to miss a significant amount of time. They are 20-11. I do think they have the reinforcements to at least tread water, if not a little better. They have wins over the Clippers, Blazers, and Suns. They did lose to the Clippers without Kyrie and Luka, and they lost to the T-Wolves on Christmas. So for me, you guys know how I feel about the Mavs if you've been watching the show. I think they're the best team in the West. Personally, they're my pick to come out of the West when healthy, when everybody's there. They're gonna miss Luka for a while. It is what it is. Let's see what they can do. They have so they come in at number 5 here. I think this is fair. Granted, I do think they're the best team in the West. I think there are teams that are playing a little better right now.
Yeah, I mean, having them on 5, especially the big news of them losing Lucas, that's going to be tough. But uh, I guess even earlier on in the season when they didn't have Luca, they still played really well. Like they tend to play more. I hate to, I know it's a general term, but they tend to play a little more faster when Luca is not there, and like they just beat the Suns on the court and also physically. Apparently, Najee Marshall with a threw a punch at Nurk, but they're a good team. They're a deep team. A lot of different pieces there, like that come off the bench and help them. Like your one of your favorite players that's on the team from the previous Nick that we always talk about. But yeah, 5 is fair. It's fair.
Yeah, 5 is fair. I think that's fair. And honestly, wouldn't surprise me if they slip a little bit just because Luka's out and maybe they catch some L's that they normally wouldn't have. So we'll see where it goes. Coming in at number 4, we have the Memphis Grizzlies, 22-10, wins over the Warriors at Atlanta against the Raptors and against the Pelicans. They did lose to the Clippers in a very, in my mind, a good game. That was a game that Kwab and I were supposed to do a reaction to, and then we didn't. But we are talking about it here. Memphis Grizzlies are a team I think everybody's just forgetting about. Jaren Jackson's having a really good season. Ja's not really shooting the ball from deep well, but he is, making plays. I need to watch more, if I'm being honest with you. I know there's this whole thing where they're like the one team that doesn't run the pick and roll because you could just give the ball to Ja and he's going to beat whoever the hell he wants off the dribble. So it's like, why use the pick and roll? But in the games that I have watched, Jaren Jackson seems to be way more aggressive scoring the basketball, which is something I know some of our Grizzly fan friends have been wanting, and he's having a really good year. They're deep as well. So yeah, I mean, we said this at the beginning of the season. Everybody kind of forgot about them, but I think every podcast was saying about the Grizzlies, right? It's like, watch out for the Grizzlies. Y'all forgot, but no one really forgot. We were just saying that we forgot, but no one really forgot. Grizzlies at number 4.
Yeah, Grizzlies 4. They're tough. Their only issue is like, can they stay healthy? Like Ja got hurt this game, and I think it was a neck or a back issue, and he had to step up, but he still had ended up having a good game. But they're very very deep when they're healthy. A lot of players have been stepping up and putting up numbers. Talking about Jaren Jackson Jr. having an all-star year. Basically, a lot, like you said, a lot of our Grizzly friends and fam always say like they should run the offense through him more, and he's been way more aggressive. I don't know how the Grizzlies keep doing this, finding these freaking rookies that nobody talks about, and then like you're like, yo, why did my team not draft them? Like
Shout out to the Grizzlies scouting department.
For real, like they do this every year, and it's like Jalen Wells. I wasn't familiar with him before he got drafted, and when he got drafted, I was just like, oh, they probably did it again. And yeah, they did it again. Like, yeah, Zach Edey has been playing well for them these past couple of games, but like Jalen Wells has been playing well. So much so it looks like he's a lock in the starting lineup. That's a rookie.
And a top 3 rookie for rookie of the year candidate, in my mind.
Yeah, out of nowhere. Yeah. And again, I don't know many people that were talking about, hey man, Jalen Wells, we should
nobody
like before the season started. So
I think we did a whole Grizzlies preview and his name did not come up.
We talked about so many other players, and again, so many other players that are still not healthy right now, like Gigi Jackson. Like they're a very very deep team. So props to the Grizzlies.
Shout out to Memphis. All right, coming in at number 3, we have the Boston Celtics. A little bit of a rough couple weeks for Boston by their standards. They did beat the Bulls. They killed the Pacers tonight. But they did also lose to the Bulls. They lost to Orlando without the Wagner twins and Paolo. And they lost to the 76ers. Granted, it was a fully healthy 76ers team, so you give them a little grace for that. But you still lost to the 76ers at home. To me, listen, at the end of the day, they're at number 3. We say this every time the Boston Celtics come up on the power rankings. I don't believe they're the 3rd best team in the league. They're probably 1 or 2, probably 1. If you were to ask me who's winning the championship, I'm going to tell you the Celtics. You just kind of go through highs and lows, even the best teams in the league. So, and this is just, they're low right now. That's how I look at it. I think they'll be fine. I got nothing more to add. It was funny. This is not having to do with them, and this is going to sound terrible, but you see the way Joel Embiid almost injured himself pregame in Boston?
That was crazy. That was crazy. Yeah.
I got that notification. I was like, you've got to be effing kidding me.
Like the that happened. I was like, this man has the worst luck in the world, bro. Like that's
But
crazy.
he played anyway, and they ended up beating Boston. So, Kwab, I don't know if you have anything to add.
I was gonna say the only thing I mean with the Celtics right now, I think the only concern that they might have is maybe making sure Porzingis is healthy. Like he has like little like tweaks with the lower leg injuries here and there. Other than that, like they're basically a well-oiled machine. Like they're great defensively. They move the ball. They shoot the crap out the ball. So much so people are complaining like there's too many threes going on in the league, and it's just like they play the right way. They create open shots and they take them and hit them. So I don't like you said they're gonna be hovering around 1, 2, or 3. Usually 1 or 2. Like we both feel like they probably will come out the East regardless. So yeah.
All right, coming in at number 2, it is the OKC Thunder. They did lose to the Bucks in the in-season tournament finals, NBA
Doesn't
Cup
count.
finals. But since then, they have ripped off wins at Orlando, at Miami versus the Wizards, and against the Pacers. SGA looking like an MVP candidate. I don't have much else to say about the Thunder. I don't want to say anything like generalizing them or making proclamations until Chet comes back, because a lot of what I see is just like bad shot selection sometimes, and sometimes it's like they work the ball around and hit the open guy for a 3. But there are a lot of things about their offense that kind of worry me. But again, when your only big guy is Isaiah Hartenstein, and he can do a lot on the offensive end, I'm not saying you're limited, but like you're going to have to go small a lot more often than not. And this is a team where it's just kind of like, we know they're one of the best in the league. We know they're going to be there in the long run. I'm just having a really hard time gauging how good they are. They've had 5 losses, and honestly, I've probably watched them 8 times this year. I've seen all their losses, so like that might be something.
So that's why
That might be part of it too, where I'm just like, damn, I turn on the
factors
TV and
into
like
it.
I'm told how good this team is, and I'm watching them lose at home to Dallas without Luka. You know what I mean? So I've seen them lose games more often than not, which is weird. I know what their record is. I know what it is. So it's one of those things where I have to fight recency bias and understand like what's really happening here, and that the reality is that they're just kicking the crap out of teams and they're winning most of their games.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen them win more games than they've lost, so I can't.
Well, yeah, I mean you're the norm.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So I mean, when it comes to Thunder, like I think they're really good defensively, even right now without Chet. Like you said, I want to see how they look with a full roster, but they've been playing really well. I think the one thing that they do very well that's understated is that they know their roles. They know when Shea's gonna get the ball. They know when J Dub or J Will, whichever one. I'm sorry, I'm messing up. They know which one's gonna like. They know when he's gonna get the ball and when he's gonna go to work, and they make it work. And they've been the record. Your record is your record. Like that's not a to me.
Listen, they're number
I
2
know.
for a reason. I recognize this. I'm not like
Yeah,
coming
but
in
I
at number
mean,
9. It's OKC. Like we're not.
Yeah,
we're not
but
having that
the
conversation.
explanation you gave makes sense because I know there's been times you've just been like, yeah, I'm not really sure about the Thunder because
Bro, I
when
mean,
you
half the times I've watched them, they lost. I actually watched their Pacers game the other day, and they were losing most of the game. And then it was almost just kind of like, all right, we're going to turn up here. And then SGA took over, and then it looked like they started trying harder on defense. And I was just like, okay, why couldn't you guys done this the whole game?
young team
And
a
they
young
won. They
team,
pulled it off
yeah.
at the end. But outside of like the first like 7 games when they were blowing everybody out and Chet was healthy, I haven't watched a Thunder game, even the ones I've seen them win, and I've been like, oh, that's a team that can win the championship. But you look at their record, and it's like, Josh, this is why you don't make assumptions and opinions with anecdotes. You use data.
Use data.
Don't get me started with that.
Take that from data. I mean, yeah. So I think when they're healthy, they're going to be ridiculous. Right now, I think they're a really good defensive team. Like probably one of the best defensive teams in the league, and they have an all-star who they can get the ball to. Technically, kind of maybe 2 who they can get the ball to. Be like, yo, we need a bucket, go get it. Yeah, I understand your concerns because it's like whatever you see is what you see is what you see. So you can't divulge from that. It's like, yo, you're watching them like, this doesn't look like what this would be, but they're a really good team. That's why we have them at 2.
Yep. All right, coming in at number 1, it's the Cleveland Cavaliers. This team has been absolutely phenomenal all year. Wins against the Bucks, Sixers, Jazz, and the Denver Nuggets. Recently, as today, we did a recap of that game. Make sure you go check it out, where we just glazed the Cavaliers for about 15 minutes. And so we're not going to do that here again. Just an overall fantastically built team. In my opinion, the deepest Cavs team we've ever seen. Don't know if they're the best, but I think they're the deepest. Kenny Atkinson, Coach of the Year. Evan Mobley, to me, has taken such a huge step forward. Even Jared Allen, I think, doesn't get talked about enough, where he used to be with the Nets offensively and where he is now with the Cavs offensively. I'm not saying he's like someone you can like give Jared Allen the ball, move out the way, but you got to respect him at least when he has the basketball and he's making plays. This team is good, man. Their bench is good. They play defense. Best team in the league.
Yeah, shout out Ty Jerome, man.
First team dime. I fucks with you.
I fucks with you, man. Ty Jerome, man. Nah,
We're actually gonna have that. We're gonna have that an award show, and that's gonna be one of the categories.
Sure. Yeah, we're definitely gonna.
We might have to do a first and second team though, because I feel like there's like 10 players we have that.
I feel like there's more than 10 players. There's a bunch
that we have like role players who were like, yo, I fucks with you.
I feel like we can get one for every team, 1 or 2 for every team.
All right, then we got to have like first team, second team.
Yeah.
Maybe third.
Maybe 13.
Maybe 13. All right, well, that's going to do it for our power rankings. We'll be back next week. Stay tuned. Kwab and I will probably do a full episode in a couple days, some game reactions as well. Let us know what games you want us to react to. Let us know what you agree with, disagree with here in the power rankings in the comments. We'll see you next time for that episode of The Dime. Peace.